if you pull up National Geographic magazines, because this was a magazine subscription
Right.
service in its kind of more beginning stages, and you get all these examples. The original National Geographic logo was this sort of serif font with the
Mhm.
national a little bit bigger than geographic, and maybe this is just the treatment that was given to the magazine covers, but still, this is what existed before.
They were going
But
for the proper magazine look.
correct, correct. And Bratin, what do you see around the border of every single one
Right.
of these?
The quintessential yellow frame. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Isn't it incredible?
Let's start with the National Geographic one.
Okay. Walk me through.
Sure. So, of course, we don't need an introduction for Chamayev, Geismar, and Habib. They have done one of the most, they're probably one of the most famous people in the branding and logo design space. National Geographic, America 250, and many more, right? I think Times was done by them and the Chase Bank logo. So, they have done phenomenal work. With this one, with National Geographic, the thing that is so special, it's something that's special with Target as well, which is something we covered, is that you take some of the simplest shapes, some of the most common things around us, and you brand it to a huge level that nobody else can ever come close to it, right? Whenever now you can't use four colors, it's Windows. Now you can't use a yellow rectangle, it's National
Yeah,
Geographic. Or anytime you use a rectangle, people will kind of allude to that. It's so
correct.
simple, so balanced, but works so well because in one frame of mind, the rectangle kind of is a boundary. It tells us about the boundaries of the world that National Geographic explores, so to say. But also, it's open and it's open for interpretation. It's a hollow rectangle, so to say.
Correct.
And they've used it as frames. They have used it as typographic elements. I love this branding always because it's so
Correct.
ubiquitous to us.
Yeah. I'm so glad you bring this up. Shermayev, Geismar, and Haviv have always been a big inspiration for me. I remember watching Sagi Haviv's TED Talk,
Right.
where he talked about, I think this was one of the projects that he had mentioned.
Mhm.
And then there were others too, other videos that I've seen him on the future as well. That's where I was introduced to this agency and the
Same.
level of work that they've done. The National Geographic story is so interesting because this logo that we're seeing right now is an evolution of what they had since the beginning. And I remember another story that I think Sagi Haviv talked about, which is if you pull up National Geographic magazines, because this was a magazine subscription
Right.
service in its kind of more beginning stages, and you get all these examples. The original National Geographic logo was this sort of serif font with the
Mhm.
national a little bit bigger than geographic, and maybe this is just the treatment that was given to the magazine covers, but still, this is what existed before.
They were going
But
for the proper magazine look.
correct, correct. And Breton, what do you see around the border of every single one
Right.
of these?
The quintessential yellow frame. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Isn't it incredible? And
Right.
they say it's 132 years of National Geographic magazine. So
Mhm.
this is a brand with extreme heritage, right? This is
Right.
a brand that has kind of built itself in the science media space.
Mhm.
Um, so what did Sagi Haviv and team do is they took this border and they said, why don't we pull out uh, the most essential item and object that people have come to recognize National Geographic for, and it is this
Mhm.
yellow rectangle, and they brought it into the logo itself, right? Along with the typography change as well, and they created this, right? So from that rectangle, it alludes back to, like you said, it alludes back to the magazine era of National
Right.
Geographic because now it's become a highly digitized media agency or a media
Right.
company, right? Um, so that's one part of it. And another part of it is I remember Sagi Haviv's one of his greatest analogies that I always think back on, and it's stuck in my head, is the idea of the vessel. So a
Mhm.
logo, a symbol can, over time, it can become a vessel for all the emotions and the feelings and the attributes that a customer or anybody in the worldwide audience might come to connect with. So all of those emotions that you used to feel when maybe you used to live in that era of this magazine coming in through the mail, and you used to open it and see and read through what it was talking about, and this all of that emotion is now just captured within this yellow rectangle.
Mhm.
And Bratin, tell me how difficult must have it been for them to sell a yellow bordered rectangle to National Geographic as their clients?
Oof, that wouldn't have been easy for sure. But when you look back, pulling something from their heritage itself, it's such a clever. It feels so genuine from their
Yes,
part, from CGH's part, and they've they knew what they were going for. They knew the internet era was coming. We need scalability with the logo, and a
that's
yellow rectangle. It's the easiest form of logo to make. It's not
right.
unique, but you can make it unique because nobody else would be able to then make it ever. Same
That's
goes
right.
for Windows or Target. When you have done the Target logo itself, then nobody else can do it again.
Yeah,
And they've, I mean, you can paint it on a mural, you can use graffiti, you can use an art brush, and we'll all reach the same results. So
correct.
that's why it has. That's what I was thinking as well. Like the expansion of the brand identity is just so paramount.
Correct. And 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 I think the logo itself is
Mhm.
entirely simple, right? It can, like you said,
Yeah.
it can live in the digital age. It can go on and live in the physical spaces as well, as they've shown here, as they've
Mhm.
shown over here too, right? So this is an extremely versatile logo, and it's not just the font anymore. It is the combination of the word and the rectangle itself. So this is an incredible case study to look at. I'm really glad you chose this. This is like what I would call a textbook case study that
Right.
everyone who's learning branding, everyone who's completing branding projects in their professional careers should take a look at and see, okay, what was done here that was so
Mhm.
interesting, and how did they end up even selling what others would call just a yellow rectangle
Mhm.
these multi to this multi-billion dollar news broadcast media agency or a media
Last
company.
point. This also
Yes.
kind of contradicts the general ideas that we have for logos right now, at
Yeah.
least. We
Yeah.
hear a lot of people talking about uniqueness. You have to have a lot of versatility. It has to look like when you place it in front of other competitor logos, it should stand out, so to say, but it should also
Right.
be unique. With this
Right.
one, they just didn't care about it because, again, it's a brand. Like when we are naming our children, we don't think, okay, he'll be having these friends, the friends' names will be these. So let's
Yeah.
name him this. That doesn't
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah.
We love our brand. We have a heritage of 100 plus years. You just extract something out of it, position it, and
Yes.
let people enjoy it for years. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. That's how it works. This is what you would call an evolution project more than a
Mhm.
rebranding. Just
Right.
take semblances of what was there and bring it into a new era. And nobody, I think, does this better than CGH.
Yeah.
So I thank you for
I would
sharing this
love to just
project.
be there, bite my nails on one
Yeah.
side of the boardroom,
Oh
watching them
yes.
convince.
Oh yes. We need more of that. I used to love when they did more a lot of videos with the Future channel,
Mhm, mhm.
as well as their own. They have some behind the scenes videos. They did one video, I think, on the 2016 US presidential campaign
Right.
logo for Hillary Clinton. So they showed the very different iterations and what brought them to the one that they chose. So
Mhm.
yes, I think we need more content from agencies out there that are world class
So
to show us peek behind the curtain of how they actually get things done.